Yeah,
Look at his face.
yeah. Too up, too down.
Look at his
Hey,
face.
yeah. Yeah, I wanted the crown and to be celebrated. I rented a tux and I ordered a mink. Stood in the mirror like mama, I made it. Proceeded to brush in the teeth in the sink. Caught me a grill and I'm so melanated. I polished the chain, I ain't gold in the link. And I got me a baby who gave me some babies. I'm raising a lady and building a king. Too cold, you too busy running with another man lane, I guess. Yeah, too bold. I be running on the one way, never change my set like, I don't ever use my signals, yeah. I be in the lane myself, yeah. I don't gotta change my mental, yeah. And I ain't gotta chase my wealth, and I accept my daddy got a kingdom, and everything I ever got is his. If I ever got a problem, I'ma seek him. I never doubt him, been about his biz, oh man, been there. I ain't gotta ride on the wave when the ocean is his. Close with the kid with a
What's good, baby? It's your boy Dale. I'm back in the saddle again. Our motto is to buy, build. We already bought it already, so we already own it, free and clear. Refinance to long-term debt, cash flow. That is the motto. Cliff, man, is that a pretty strong motto, man? What do you think?
Man, the model is strong. Like, you're getting each piece of the invest, right?
What it do, baby? It's your buddy Dale, and Cliff back in the saddle again for another edition of Real Estate Friday Training, man. Another week. Enter another week ended. Cliff, man, what's going on with you, baby? How you doing, big time?
Man, doing good, doing good. Busy week, but man, can't complain.
Yes, sir. Well, hold on 1 second. Did we get the bag, though?
Oh yeah, we got the bag this week.
We got the bag, y'all. We gonna start a new thing, y'all, man. When we talk about we get the bag, man, we got to invite in somebody to let everybody know how we feeling. Here we go.
Right. Yeah.
Every time, every time, baby. I got the bag too, man. Working on a couple big deals here, man, which are pretty good. New construction, refinancing one of our assets in Jackson, which is pretty good. That renovation's been completed. I may see if I could show everybody a little bit of some video on that maybe later on, man. But man, that property was a train wreck. Am I right, Cliff?
Yeah, need a lot of work.
Not work, man. But it went from we bought it for what 30, right?
Mm-hmm.
ARV 140. We put 55, 60 into it. Not bad, is it, Cliff?
No. That's a great deal.
Great deal, man. And more to come, man. But man, let's dive into it real fast, guys. Man, we have the blessing and the pleasure to actually having a licensed appraiser on the show, right? So if you could share this whole live and like and subscribe. If you like the content, guys, every Friday we do this every Friday. But Cliff, man, again, the current market analysis, man, what we're seeing in the market, what's going down?
Man, continuation, man. It's just there's not much inventory. Prices, below. I would say around anything below 400,000 is still great. Man, if you could flip in that range, you're doing good. And then, like I said, most prices are kind of stagnating right now.
Yeah.
For a while during inflation last year, it was up. Everything was up. Now I'm starting to see it go sideways a little bit.
Yeah.
But it sounds like we might get into it. I don't know, but it sounds like the Fed may be cutting rates here soon. So we're gonna see. But I think when that happens, we're gonna see a spike in values.
Yeah, we're gonna get into that a little bit as well because there were some reports talking about in September the Fed is thinking about cutting some rates. To me, that's probably not a good idea. But if it's a cut, it's probably 1/4%.
That's what I'm thinking too.
Ain't gonna be nothing really big, so he can kind of say, we did have a cut, but it didn't really do anything. I don't think it's going to bring a lot of money off the sidelines because the cost of living is going up for a lot of individuals. And so, like for instance, I'm sitting in my area, Cliff. Man, there's a lot of property on the market, and what's happening? Well, not a lot. It's probably on the market, but the days on the market are long. I mean, long. And I'm like anywhere from 30, 60, 90 days. And these are 5,000 square foot homes, 4,000 square foot homes. um, 5 bedrooms, 4 bathrooms, 2 car, 2 or 3 car garages. It's the days on market are high. And I just said, properties actually have pools in the back,
Mm.
like full pools, like they've been on the market for a long period of time. I'm like, why is this happening? Well, it's very, for me, what I kind of see is people are, cost of living's gone up, cost of goods and services is going up, which is cost of living as well. Also, and people's savings has went down, and so that's kind of not a good formula for a healthy economy, so to speak. Man, do you agree or disagree?
No, I agree. I think the market in total is slowing down.
It is.
I think that's why the cuts are coming in because I mean, the whole point of why the rates are the where they are right now,
Mm-hmm.
as high as they are, is because
Mm-hmm.
it's there to slow down the economy.
Correct.
I mean, if they cut, I'm just throwing out a number, they cut 3 points, you're gonna see the market go boom. You're gonna see
Sure.
everything go spike because money's
Sure.
cheap. You know
Sure.
what I'm saying? When money's cheap, everybody's gonna start refining. So I think we're on our way down. Like I think you're right. They're probably gonna do quarter point,
Sure.
and then but I think that it's gonna be a trend. I think you're not gonna just see
Sure.
one cut. You'll probably see 2 to 5, depending on
Sure.
how long they want to do this.
Sure. I agree with 100%. I was listening to Trump talk at the RNC. He said something that was different that I thought he was going to do. I thought he was good. He's not going to say he's going to raise the rates, but he was saying that he was trying to cause for the economy to be more organically moving instead of so much government involvement
Right.
and printing capital. So it was drill, baby, drill, negotiate better deals as well. Also, he really didn't say anything really about how to attack inflation. And so I'm assuming that in order to burn out this excess cash, because the CHIP Act money has not been spent, the Inflation Production Act money has not been spent. That money's sitting on the sidelines. You're talking about probably around like $5 to $6 trillion. And then in September, Biden is proposing a $7 trillion budget. You're talking about $12 trillion in one calendar year. Well, 24 months. That no, it's one calendar year, I believe. That's ridiculous. That's a lot of money that's to be burnt out. You agree?
Yeah. I mean, they set aside a lot of money for those big government projects. Um, all you can do is really is try to, like you said, spend the money wisely. Don't put it all at once. Systematically spend it out and try to stretch it out over as much time as possible, so it's not
Yeah.
all one.
Yeah.
A trillion going out this year or something. Maybe it's
Correct.
half a trillion every year for the next 3 years or something. But it's still going to add to the market. Um, but I think if you're spending that money into a environment that's accommodating to that excess cash, it's possible you can get a boost from it. Basically
Sure.
saying you can create excess tax revenue that pulls close to that same amount back out because
Sure.
of uh of increased productivity.
One thing that I would do, Cliff, is if I was president, how could you begin to get the economy moving in a more organic standpoint? What I would do is first and foremost, I would cut the federal income tax. I'll cut it, get rid of it. The reason why is you want to unburden businesses and as well as the consumers on taxes because they're feeling it on inflation, right? And when inflation is present, the government may raises record amounts of taxes. So the tax revenue is not an issue. So I would cut that. Number two, I would gut all the regulations and incentivize for states, cities, and counties to do the exact same thing because you're trying to get the economy moving on in a faster pace. And people may say, well, Dale, you're losing some tax revenue because you're cutting the income tax revenue. I understand that perspective, but you're getting that back with people actually going out and spending currency, spending money. So you still have the sales tax in some states. You have property taxes. You actually have taxes when people actually acquire new cars, new houses, things of that nature. You're getting the economy moving, so tax revenue is still rolling in. You just unburdened businesses as well as the consumer with a tax, so to speak, as you attack the inflation. Now, what I would do if I was them, if I was Trump, is probably for the first quarter, I would raise the rates to see what actually happens. Because you want to burn out that excess cash. I would do that. Now, Cliff may disagree. Nobody disagree.
Because it's hindering growth. And you need to be able to have growth immediately to be able to. What I'm saying is, I would start with growth. I wouldn't start with trying to hinder the economy with higher interest rates, burdening prices and burdening the economy with trying to get started. I'd rather I'd rather get the economy rolling,
Okay.
cut
Okay.
the interest rates, let
Okay.
the economy start going, and
Okay.
let it keep going. Then I would see how much inflation happens quarter over quarter.
Yes.
If we
Yes.
don't see any inflation happening, then we can hold at the rates that are lower,
Correct.
and we can continue to have that same growth. So,
Gotcha.
because I think we can cut and not have excess inflation if our productivity increases. So I think if you combine that with cutting taxes, you can increase productivity, because basically increased productivity is efficiency. That's all it
Sure.
is. You're
Sure.
getting more
Sure.
out that dollar.
Sure.
Okay,
Sure.
well, with inflation, that will reduce inflation. So the way we get more out that dollar is to lower it, allow more businesses to thrive, cut regulation, allow them to start doing more projects, puts more people back to work. Now you're getting more out of that dollar than you would before.
I understand that, but what's causing the inefficiency now? It is because of the excess printing, and so and also the cost of living and the production of goods and services has gone up because of inflation. And so I agree. You don't want to hinder. You want to start with growth, but you have $12 trillion sitting to be released. So let's say, for instance, we do it your way, which is fine. And we drill, baby, drill, cut taxes, gut regulation, which is fine. And we grow. And then all of a sudden, $12 trillion is released. And that's nothing for the inflation. Now, what do we do?
Yeah, you'd have to cut. Now, the only thing I don't know if you can do this. You could redirect those to different parts of the government that you have.
Okay.
But the project, I mean, the goal is to say, okay, if you have to spend 12 trillion, you want to be a net, right? You
Sure,
want to be net
sure,
zero, right? So
sure.
basically, meaning I want to get, if I'm going to spend 12 trillion, I want to spend it in a way that, let's say it's a Green New Deal, whatever it is. They
Sure.
got to spend it on that infrastructure. Cool.
Yeah.
Then we should spend it in such a way that it reduces our energy costs. Now we're offsetting our future costs, which is going to reduce the inflationary of that spending,
So
right?
what you're saying is hypothetically, what you're saying is, let's say, for instance, we got $12 trillion. We want to drill, baby, drill,
Right.
divert some of those the capital to activities that's going to spur growth,
Right.
not fund Green New Deal stuff. But that really depends on the language in the bill too. They can do that at all.
Exactly. And if
Yeah.
you have to do it,
Yeah.
you want to do it in the best way that's going to be the most cost-effective way to do it, right? To
Okay.
be able to bring down costs. A simple way would be, okay, we have to spend 12 trillion. Cool. Every government building is going to have solar, because that brings the government costs of electricity down. Because we're probably spending $50 million a year in electrical. Now, if you
Sure.
were to bring that down to 25 million, now that offsets $25 million a year going forward.
Gotcha.
You see what I'm saying? Yeah.
I can see that perspective as well. Also, I would still hearken on, depending on the language of the bill, if you can delay or I'll ease the release of those funds. I could see that kind of working. It really depends on the language of the bill.
Oh
And
yeah,
I
yeah.
would say, if we can drill, baby, drill, we can kind of now. Here's what I would do, Cliff, as an example. What if that money could be diverted into foreign policy type of money? In other words, give me an example. We got $12 trillion, right, for the
Mhm.
CHIP Act and the Inflation Production Act. What if we did this here? We have a partner, an ally named the UK that has an inflationary problem that's bad and it's worse than ours. And it's getting worse and worse and worse. What if we did this here? What if we said, okay, UK, we will buy your debt at pennies on the dollar, right? With this $12 trillion, we'll buy it. It's already printed out, or it's already ready to be released. We use those funds to buy your debt. And what you're going to do is, whatever bill that you do with your parliament, you're going to pay us a payment. then we can actually use UK as a conduit for business with Iran, Saudi Arabia, Ukraine, Russia, and other places over there in Europe as well, to where those inflationary dollars can leave America, right? So that we don't feel it as much, but we also get something back in return as well. Does that make sense? It's kind of what I call the Ray Dalio play. Does that make sense?
Yeah, you're saying if you money, when you print money, you're diluting the currency, right? You're saying if I dilute it outside the U.S., it dilutes it less, right?
Correct. And then we can drill, baby, drill, and begin selling more, as Trump was talking about last night, selling more of our oil and natural gas to other countries, generating more revenue. That makes some sense.
Yeah, I see what you're saying, but we also are spending money outside the U.S., so we're giving our money to other countries. Is what we're doing too.
Yeah.
So we're making them richer on our own dollar. I'd rather us spend it here more effectively. And this is what I'd rather. I'd rather cut a deal with England in the scenario you're talking about, that they buy more goods from us, then we can spend that money on productivity to sell them their goods. Now we're offsetting our costs with revenue coming in from outside the U.S.
So part of that deal is we'll buy your debt, but you're going to buy our goods and services in exchange, right? So that we can increase our productivity and efficiency, and those inflated dollars that were going to really go into America are now across the seas. We don't feel it as much at all, but we get more currency coming back in return than what's going out. I got you. That makes sense. Mm-hmm. That makes sense. Okay, that makes sense, guys. Okay, yeah, guys. That's our current market analysis today, guys. What we talk about every single Friday now. Cliff, something came out this week from President Biden. He asked what they call the Biden rent cap plan. It's a 5% annual rent cap plan for landlords. And I just said, how is this going to affect us as investors? So I said, okay, let's see what's going down, and we can see what they're talking about real quickly, and we can hear what they're saying. Here we go. Let me know if you hear this at all.
We've got some interesting news going on.
I got you.
The president is proposing a way to try and bring down or address our housing issue, and he's starting with rent caps. Now, in a simple understanding, a rent cap is a way to cap how much a landlord can raise your rent. And in this case, they're targeting landlords who own more than 50 units. So we're really talking about corporate landlords here. But on a bigger question, is price control the way to help fix the market? Now, as somebody who's been in business for a long time, many of the studies I have read show that it doesn't. It ultimately, over the course of time, hurts consumers.
So, Cliff, man, what do you thought about his process on what he's talking about there?
I'm gonna choose my words carefully, because in the environment we're in, and politics, and obviously the president almost being assassinated and everything like that.
Sure.
I'm gonna be nice and just call it a dumb way to go.
Elaborate, please, brother.
Because I want peace, right? Because obviously what happened was a terrible tragedy, and we're not trying to have that happen with anybody. But when it comes to economic issues like this, that is dumb. It's dumb because you can't control the market like that. If you cap the rates at 5% increase, I'm not buying any more houses. I can't turn the value higher. For example, I'm looking to be able to, let's say I'm looking to buy a property and it's renting for $1,000 a month.
Correct.
Well, once I fix it up, it's got to rent for $1,300.
Correct.
Under this, I can't raise the rent to get $1,300, so I don't do the deal.
Correct.
So what that does is it actually de-incentivizes landlords to buy more properties.
Correct.
Which exacerbates that issue more.
Correct.
Right. So he's causing his own the problem he's trying to solve. He's causing the problem. And the idea of capping it at 50 units. Number one, that's a nice round number. That's nice and round, right? It doesn't make sense, Dale, because if I'm a corporation, okay, cool. At 49, create a new entity.
You know what I'm saying? It's the dumbest. It's It's the dumbest thing I've heard in my life. How can
Right.
you rent control of the rental market and say that you are targeting corporate landlords? Number one, corporate landlords, they don't deal with 50 units. It's just not what they do. That's just not. They're dealing with 100 units plus.
And that's,
Easy.
but I think he's talking about he don't when he says 50 units, I don't even think he knows what he's talking about.
No. I
He's
mean,
talking
a
about
damn
50
sense.
single family, a 50 unit building, or 50 100 unit. What's a unit? You know what I'm saying?
It don't make no sense at all. Now, let's hear. I think that's going to, if this is passed, it will have an effect on both the retail and the landlord. Now, Grant Cardone came out and talked about how this will affect the investors. Let's see what he has to say. Here you go. That's what he has to say. Uh-oh, what's going on? Hold on. Come on. Oh, here we go.
You guys that saw that Joe Biden wants to propose capping national rent increases at 5%. My name's Grant Cardone. I run a company called Cardone Capital. We own 15,000 apartments. Just so you know, before you read the headline, I think that's good for renters. This would be the greatest windfall to my real estate portfolio of anything that could possibly happen. Okay, this will not only make me rich, I'll show you how rich, I'll just do the math. A 5% increase, you would take 1.05 times the average rent. My average rent on our portfolio is $2,000. 1.5 multiplied 10 times, 1.5 times 2,000 times 1.5 times 1.05 times 1.05. The rents in 10 years will be $3,285. It would make me an extra $30 million a year in rental income and increase the value of my portfolio over $4.5 billion.
Jesus.
So for all you guys that listen to people that don't know how to do math, can barely walk on a stage, have never run a business, don't know what rent is or rent control or even compounding a rate at 5%, this is why housing is so unaffordable in this country, because of jokes like this that have never done anything or run anything or bought anything. Be great.
Man, Cliff, what you think about your boy G, brother, Uncle G?
Man, he's talking about owning it, you know what I'm saying, and compounding. So even 5% is still, he's right though. I mean,
He's right.
5% compounding is good. You know, there's nothing wrong with that. But it's just, to me it seems like a Hail Mary. It doesn't make sense. The economy. I'll give you an example. So Dale introduced me. He's saying he was an appraiser. I'm an appraiser. I've been appraising for years, right? When we do our training, it talks to us about rent and rent rates and rent caps and the economics behind rent. It tells us in the book rent caps don't work. In the appraising language, in the education, it tells you it doesn't work. But politicians don't care about if economics works or not. They're not doing it for that. They're doing it for a vote.
Man, this is the classic case of somebody trying to sound smart, don't know what they're doing. This is somebody that is, as Grant says, never has owned a business. He's been in the government for his whole life. He's never bought a property, rental property. He's never been an investor, successful real estate investor. Never took an appraisal class. Never took a realtor class. But he knows how to control the rent market, right?
It doesn't even sound right. How do you turn around Memphis if you can't raise rents?
It don't make no sense.
If you bought a property that needs renovations, if you're telling me if somebody moves out of their apartment, you can't raise that rent, or even if it's the same person in that apartment, I fixed it up, I can't raise the rent.
Yes.
So why would I would never fix up a property? It doesn't make sense.
It don't make no sense at all. So again, guys, this is what I mean by politicians that they don't know how to read a balance sheet or income statement. I think Supreme Justice Clarence Thomas was talking, and he said, and they went back when he was getting confirmed. And I think Senator Biden at the time, who was not President Biden, was talking about some type of theory of something. And they asked him, what was he talking about? He said, I have no clue.
Yeah.
What he was saying makes no sense at all. Typically, when we're in this confirmation stage, we're going into a room when most likely almost all the individuals on the panel don't know what they're talking about. They are just reading off these so-called lines and sounding smart. And they're very good at acting. This was Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas talking about this. And it's right. When rent cap at 5% annually, what if the market says you need to go up 10%? He says, nope, 5%. So I'm like, so are you trying to curtail growth? Or are you trying to allow for us to grow? Because if the market is saying 10% hypothetically in growth when it comes to rental cap, right? A rent roll, so to speak, and you said no 5% because I said so. That's dumb. That's why I say governments should be referees. They should not be active players in the game. And unfortunately, Biden and his squad want to be players, and they suck at being players.
Yeah, I mean, it's because they want outcomes, but they think that the way that you can direct outcomes, like for example, can you just tell everybody, hey, everybody now, your favorite color is blue. You could tell everybody that that's what it is. Now people will just lie to make it happen. They'll do all these different stuff. My point being is that you can't just tell people how they act and how to feel, and they're just going to behave that way. And that's what the government tries to do. They try to tell you, hey, this is how the market should behave. This is how, but that's not how it works. Everybody has their own favorite color. Everybody has a different one. And so you can't direct people and tell people how this has to be. And if you are going to do that, it has to work at the end of the day. It's got to be effective. It doesn't make sense just to say, well, I think people should pay less in rent and just say that. It's just not how it works.
Now I'm trying to bring up the actual article from there we go, from CNN. This is CNN, y'all. CNN. It says, scroll a little bit. It says Biden unveils a plan to cap rent hikes. Let's read it together. This was July 16th. Today is what, the 19th, right? 3 days ago. He unveils this. It says President Biden revealed a series of proposals aimed at lowering housing costs on Tuesday as inflation and elevated home prices are shaping up to be does it say this decisive issues in the for voters in this year. The plan, which is subject to congressional approval, calls for withdrawing tax credits from landlords who raise rents by more than 5% per year beginning this year and for the next 2 years. The plan would apply only to larger landlords, trash, who have more than 15 units, trash, in their portfolio. Again, what are units? 50 SFRs? 50 doors? Is it one building with 50 units? What is it? Right? Yeah. though that counts for more than 20 million rental units, you see that loose language across the country, according to the White House. So again, look at the loose language. Listen to the verbiage of the so-called smart people. The policy would include an exemption for new construction. There we go. And builders that are being substantially renovated. Buildings, sorry. That's aimed at incentivizing new rental property construction to increase supply of apartments and homes for rental. See, you see, apartment and homes. Listen to the verbiage. While the prior administration gave special tax breaks to corporate landlords, I'm working to lower housing costs for families, Biden said in a statement. Republicans in Congress should join Democrats to pass my plan to lower housing costs for Americans who need relief. Now, I got to stop right here, Cliff. Cliff, let me ask you a dumb question. If this move adds a cost to a landlord, does a landlord pay that, or do they pass that on to the consumer?
Yeah, they'll end up passing it on.
But I thought they were trying to lower the cost for the consumer.
If you have demand, and that's the problem that they don't understand when they implement a lot of this stuff is if you say, hey, I'm gonna tax Coca-Cola, 20%. Everybody likes Coke.
Yeah,
Coke could raise it 20 cents from a dollar, and
sure
people
can.
still gonna buy it.
Correct.
So they don't understand that when a business has demand, you are
Correct.
just hurting the customer.
That is correct, guys. So again, guys, the devil is in the details, guys. Notice right here it says apartments and homes for rent. So the language is very I won't say deceptive, but loose to where this can apply to apartment complexes and homes. So for instance, Cleveland, I have 50 plus homes. You're considered a corporate landlord, so now you can't do that at all. But it's 50 single family residences, not apartment complexes. You see how the language can be very loose?
Right.
You see? So that's what that was about, man. Cliff, you want to say anything, man, about that at all? Because this is dumb to me, Doc.
It just don't. The solution of just saying the government should just intervene rarely works. If you, I mean, the biggest thing you can see between a business and if the government should run it is the post office. Who makes more
Right.
money, UPS or USPS?
Mhm.
USPS loses billions. UPS makes billions.
Correct.
So to say the government should intervene and do stuff is to basically say I want it to be slower and cost more.
Correct. So, guys, again, the devil is in the details, guys. I know this may be one of those boring scenarios, but no, it's not boring at all. As a real estate investor, you must know what's going on federally, statewide, county, and city, because it's going to touch you. It's going to touch you. We see more regulations in liberal-leaning cities than conservative-leaning cities on the regulation side. All the damn time. You got to inspect it for this and this and this. And we're like, damn, can we just build the damn house? Golly.
I'll give you an example. I looked at buying land in Fort Worth, Texas,
Mhm.
and I called the city of Fort Worth to figure out what's everything I got to get filled out, documents, all this. During the new construction, they told me I think it was about 26 to 30 inspections.
God.
And if you've ever dealt with the city, I know Dale know. You got to call the city, schedule. It takes about a week, 2 weeks for them to come out.
Yep.
They come out, tell you something's wrong. Then you got to reschedule and wait for them to come back out. Now imagine that 26 to 30 times.
My God, yo. We just had an issue in Jackson, guys, to a vendor for the city damaged our house by pulling down a power line. And it took them a month to get out there. 1 month for the city to get out there. We couldn't begin fixing the electrical panel without the city approval, the permit. That permit took 2 weeks. And then finally we got done. It took them another week and a half to get out there. Again, that's why. Go ahead.
Oh no, I was gonna say, you know who solved that problem real well? I was like, man, that's actually genius. Detroit.
Really?
Man, yeah. I was doing some research in Detroit, and I was wondering. I was like, man, there's all these dilapidated houses. The city has to be constantly doing inspections because these are some old homes.
Yeah.
The city said, what we're going to do is take all the licensed home inspectors and allow you to go do the inspection.
Wow.
And what the home inspector does, they got to fill out a form or something like that online or whatever it is and submit it. The city will charge them like $50 to $100 to submit that file saying the electrical was done, plumbing looks good, all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So the home inspector just turns around and charges like $250.
Yeah.
$300.
Yeah.
But that speeds up the process because I don't have to call the city to check on my electrical. I can just call a home inspector.
Correct.
Have him do it. He fills out the city form and then just submits it.
Yeah. Yes. Wonderful.
And if there's something wrong with that house later, they can go back to that home inspector and say, you have to have insurance and we can force the insurance to pay for the problems.
Yes, sir.
I said, that's genius. That's the best way. Why isn't everybody doing that? Turn home inspectors into working for the city, basically. They make money, the city works faster, and there's accountability with the home inspector.
Yes.
God. Yeah.
Every time. Every time. But thank you, Kevin, brother. I feel the same way, Kevin. My dude, baby. But yeah, man, it makes it's you have to know how to engage with local municipality authorities. You're gonna have to. Like in Jackson, man, they love us to death. They love us. Like, man, come on with it. Every house we buy in Jackson, we have to register with the city. Everyone.
Yeah.
Everyone. That's $100. $100 just to register the house. To why? To rent it out. Yes, sir. No, that's a tax. That's a tax that you got to pay. But you pay it. And once you pay it, man, they so nice. Nice. Get out there. Now don't get it twisted. That don't mean other areas in the local government ain't suffering because that inspection period is that right there was pulling teeth, Cliff. Good God. Calling, do somebody tomorrow. Don't show up. Don't tell you why you showed up, didn't show up. Come out when you're not there. Talk about where you at. Then when you ain't there, you got to reschedule. Like, oh, hell, I'm on my way. No, I'll be there in 5 minutes. Don't you move. It's ridiculous, man. It's sad. But
Yeah.
that's what's going on, man. Cliff, you want to say anything, man, before we sign off, man?
Now, man, just same thing I'm saying every week, man. You one deal away. Once you figure it out, there's a process to it. But once you kind of get your process down, you can consistently do more property. So check out the Cash Flow Club. Sign up. Uh, join us. We can start telling you the formula.
Very simple, guys. Here is the play for the Cash Flow Club, guys. Is Cliff and I are often asked via DM if we could train, partner up, which we'll do on deals. Well, our schedules are pretty packed every day, and we want to make sure that we're able to train you guys the right way when it comes to real estate investing, whether it be single-family residences, new construction, or apartment complexes. So we decided it would be wise to have an on-demand training to where your training for you may be best for you in the evening. Well, we with our families get in there with our wives and our kids. But you can have access to me and Cliff with on-demand training. And every month that the course is updated because as the market changes, so does the training, guys. So I thought our philosophy is if we can teach you how to find a deal, vet a deal, structure the deal the right way, we will actually partner with you and fund your deal for you. And we just profit split, right? Because some of you guys may be new to real estate, so you may not have the experience, the credit profile, or the assets. We have all that in place right now. So this is what I call the private equity play in real estate. That's what we're doing. Cliff, you agree, man? You disagree?
Nah, I agree. I agree, man. Just follow the formula.
Follow the formula, guys. But man, also, guys, before we get off, guys, we got some merch called I Got That Bag University. See, our diploma is not something to hang on the wall. Our diploma is two things: the check, right, the bag, and your shirt. If you want some merch, guys, scan on the QR code, click on the link below, guys, get you some merch. We have hoodies, hats, as well as t-shirts as well, guys. So go and get your merch, man. Well, man, Cliff, that's all I have to say for today, man. You want to say anything else before we get off, man?
Nah, man, you one deal away. Stay with us. Stay with us. Follow us. See what we up to. See what we doing, man. And check us out each week, man. But be ready, man. Be ready
We
about
are we are one. You're always one deal away. You know, I'll be in it every single time before you leave while you can, baby. You see that thing. Take a picture for your mom and them guys. I'll let you about to see you guys next time. Y'all. Peace.